If you're getting started with PHP, I am willing to bet you have hit this exact wall. You define a variable, you try to use it inside a function, and poof, it's just gone. It's honestly one of the first big, frustrating hurdles every new developer faces. So today, we are going to crack that case wide open.
All right, let's dive right in. We're going to start with what I like to call the disappearing variable trick. Because let's be real, it feels like some kind of magic trick that's just not working in your favor.
This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, you wrote the code. The variable is sitting right there, plain as day. So why is your function pretending it's completely invisible?
Okay, let's look at a super common example. We've got our variable, $x, and we've set it to hello. Simple enough. Then we have a function that all it does is try to echo that variable. Now, logically, what do you expect to happen? It should print hello, right? I mean, it's right there.
Yeah, but it doesn't. Instead, you get this ugly error message staring back at you. Undefined variable x. The variable you just defined has seemingly vanished into thin air the second it crossed into that function. This isn't a bug, though. This is actually a fundamental rule of PHP doing its job. So, to understand why our variable pulled a disappearing act, we need to talk about this one core concept called scope. This is the key. Once you get this, the whole mystery just clicks into place.
So what is scope? Well, the simple way to think about it is that it's the rulebook that decides where your variables are allowed to live and be seen. It's kind of like a variable's home turf, or its own private bubble.
And in PHP, we're mostly dealing with two of these worlds, or scopes. You've got the global world, and then you have the local world.
And this chart really breaks it down. A variable you declare outside of any function, like our original $x, that lives in the global scope. But anything you declare inside a function, that's in the function's own private local scope. And here's the most important part. By default, there is a hard wall between them. The function can't see out, and the outside world can't see in.
This right here is the golden rule. If you remember one thing today, make it this. It explains everything. It's why our function couldn't see $x. And it's not a bug, it's a feature. It's designed to protect you, to stop functions from accidentally reaching out and messing with variables they shouldn't be touching. It keeps things tidy.
Okay, so if there's a wall between these two worlds, how do we get them to talk to each other? How do we pass notes over the wall? Well, luckily, PHP gives us a couple of special tools to do just that. You've got two main moves. To bring a variable into your function from the outside, you use the global keyword. And to safely send a value out of your function, you use a return statement. Let's see them in action.
So here's our first solution. Check out our original code, but with one little line added, global $x. That line is basically a special permission slip. It tells the function, hey, I need you to poke your head outside of your local world for a second and grab the global variable named $x. And just like that, it works. The result is hello. But, and this is a really big but, you have to be careful with global. It's creating a direct, live link to that outside variable. So if you change the variable inside the function, you're not changing a copy, you are changing the actual global variable for the rest of your script. That can cause some really confusing bugs down the line if you're not paying attention.
Now for a much safer and frankly better way to get data out of a function, just use return. In this case, the function does its own thing with its own private variables. When it's done, it just packages up the final result and uses return to hand it back to you. The global scope can then catch that value. This is so much cleaner because the function never messes with the outside world. It just delivers a result, no side effects.
Okay, so what if you have a special case? What if you want a variable inside a function to actually remember its value between different calls? Well, PHP has a special trick for that too.
It's called a static variable. Think of it as a local variable that doesn't get amnesia. You know, normal local variables get wiped clean and reset every single time you call the function. A static variable, on the other hand, holds on to its value.
And this table just makes the difference so obvious. Look at the normal local variable column. Every time we call the function, it starts over. 1, 1, 1, 1. No memory. But now look at the static variable. The first call, it's 1. The second call, it remembers it was 1 and becomes 2. Then 3. Then 4. This is incredibly useful for things like counters or simple caching, right inside a function, without needing a messy global variable.
So, after all this, you might be thinking that Scope is just this collection of annoying rules designed to make your life harder. But I really want you to try and flip that idea on its head. Scope isn't your enemy. It's one of your best friends for writing good, clean code.
When it comes down to it, Scope is all about safety and clarity. It prevents those wild, hard-to-track-down bugs where a change in one tiny function accidentally breaks something on the other side of your application. It makes your code more readable, more secure, and it encourages you to build these nice, self-contained, reusable chunks of logic.
So the next time you see that undefined variable error, don't get mad. See it as a helpful signpost. It's PHP guiding you to build better, more organized code. So the real question isn't why the rule exists, it's how are you going to use this knowledge to your advantage and write even